Let me start first with a recap of what went down last night. Now, if you did not sit through that garbage, that Thursday night garbage, then this take is going to sound pretty harsh. If you did force yourself to sit through that ass fest, then you know exactly how much that game sucked. Now, of course, saying something sucks typically is not a take. But again, if you sat through that game, you know it's the only take. Or as the Jungle's big head, James Kelly would put it, that was some historic ass. Serial ass. Look, bottom line is, the Broncos are 8-2. They have won 7 games in a row. You just would never know that by watching that team play. Normally, if an NFL team wins 7 games in a row, that means they're pretty damn good. But I'm really not sure that logic applies here. Now, if we're talking about defense, then yes, the Broncos are pretty damn good. In fact, they're probably great defensively. Elite defensively. Now, the offense, on the other hand, is the opposite of elite. In fact, that offense has been so bumpy and so inconsistent and so up and down and so erratic and so frustrating, it's actually impossible to believe that they're an 8-2 football team. They might even be the worst 8-2 football team I've ever seen, even with a very good defense. You know how you can tell that an 8-2 team is not what its record says they are? When they play at home in prime time, trying to win their 7th consecutive game, and they get their asses booed the entire night long. It's not like Bronco fan was watching that game, keeping the faith and backing their guys, believing in their guys. Not at all. Bronco fan was watching that game and reacting as if they know their team is fraudulent. Of course they were booing. They already knew that they weren't as good as their record says they are. What they didn't know is that they were as ass as the ass Raiders. And that's why they were booing a team that had won 7 in a row. When was the last time you saw a fan base boo a team that had won 7 in a row? Ever? Hell, Philly fan wouldn't even do that. And Philly fan booed Santa Claus. And Philly fan booed Mike Schmidt. And they wouldn't even do that. Man, that game was so horrific. There were 13. How horrific? Hey, Rome, what are you going on about? I'll tell you. See, I can both pose and answer these questions myself. Let me prove to you how ass that game was. There were 13 combined 3-and-outs. 13 drives in a single game that ended after 3 plays. More than half of the Raider drives were 2 yards or less. There were 15 punts, 2 missed field goals. Thank you, Albie. A block punt, a shanked punt, 22 combined penalties. It was a total bleep show. Those 22 combined penalties, by the way, were more than the combined first downs in that game. An incredible stat. For the first time in an NFL game since 1976, both teams had more penalties than first downs. Both teams committed 11 penalties, and both teams had only 10 first downs the entire game. I think that says it all. In fact, harsh. I don't think it's possible to be harsh enough or negative enough about how badly those two teams played. In other words, there's no doubt in my mind that was the worst game of the year. That's a given. The question is, was that the worst game ever? Now, you know me. I don't punch the clock at the hot take factory. I mean, I actually mean that. Was that the worst NFL game ever played? Because I'm pretty sure that's the worst NFL game I've ever seen. And I've been watching NFL games for more than a half a damn century. That game was so horrific. I'm tempted to say, man, that was so good, or that was so bad that it was good. But it wasn't. It was so bad, it was just ass, punctuated by moments of even more ass. Examples. You want examples? I have examples. For instance, I think that game may have had the worst quarterback sneak I have ever seen in a game in my life. Check it out. Warren Sharp posted, quote, hilarious QB sneak attempt. Not even close. Right. Oh, Geno. My man, so close. Nothing like being so out of ideas that you have to quarterback sneak on 3rd and 2, and then you lose a half a yard on that sneak. Didn't they draft Ashton Genty? Isn't Chip Kelly the genius drawing up these plays? Hey, at least there's this. At least Geno made it to the end of the game. Barely. And it was touch and go for a while. I was getting all these Carson Wentz vibes from that dude last night. I thought Geno was going to make his linemen pick him up and carry him from the huddle to the line of scrimmage. Like that was the only way he was going to make it. But then again, what do you expect? You expect the Raiders to play like ass because the Raiders are ass. The Broncos, on the other hand, as mentioned, were thought to be an alleged Super Bowl contender coming in. Instead, they're out here trying to out-ass the ass Raiders. Like, for instance, did you see the punter? The punter forgot how to punt. I'm not exactly sure what happened to Jeremy Crawford last night, but it kind of looked like the dude got the punting yips. Oh! Did you see that? Are you watching on the stream? My man either shanked this punt, not off the side of his foot, but off his ankle on purpose, or just forgot how to punt. I have never seen that before. An ankle punt in the NFL. That's not good. Of course, that wasn't even the most catastrophic punt of the game. The Raiders pretty much lost because this punt got them stuffed on their own goal line at the end of the third quarter.
Blocked. Kick is blocked. And Denver's going to get the ball.
The best part of that block punt is that J.L. Skinner blocked that punt with his face. He took the punt straight off the dome. Right in his face.
Right in my face.
Right in his face. A punt blocked by a specials team unit and a special teams coach that had been completely under fire in Denver before the Raiders single-handedly bought them all an extra week and a little breathing room. Because that ended up being the decisive play in that game. Essentially because it got Denver in position for the field goal that gave them the 10-7 win. But that's why Denver was in field position to go ahead. Not because they moved the ball down the field, but because a dude took a punt right off his face. Somebody blocked a punt with their face. All right, so they do that. That's how bad this game is. They do that, and then Denver takes over, and what do they do with it? They go backwards 2 yards. Then they kick a 32-yard field goal that made it 10-7 at the end of the third quarter, and somehow that was enough. Nothing happened in the fourth quarter. Nothing. Except that Daniel Carlson did have a chance to tie that game with 4 minutes left from 48 yards out. Now, in this day and age, when a 70-yard field goal is almost the norm, a 48-yarder is like a chippy, a point after. Except not last night.
From 48 away, the kick is over the top of the upright, but outside of it.
Of course. Look at the gum assassin. He looked like he was going to pass out after that miss. Remember when Pete Carroll said that we're going to win like crazy right away? We're going to win like crazy right away. And that he's been winning 10 games a year for 20 years, and he was going to keep doing that in Vegas. Remember that? Neither do I. The Raiders are now 2-7. They've been outscored by a combined 81 points this year. Their QB leads the league in interceptions. They've got the third worst offense in the NFL. They can't make a kick. They can't protect a punt. It's hard to imagine how they could be any worse. And yet Denver only beat them by 3. So where does that leave Denver? I think it's pretty simple, actually. A Super Bowl caliber defense and an offense and a special teams unit that has no business even sniffing the postseason. This is not sustainable. Somehow, some way, they're 8-2. But they're the one team that's not what their record says they are. How are they doing it? With defense, an easy schedule, and they're finding a way to win close games that are only close because they're not that good. Not nearly as good as their record says. They're a mirage. It's fool's gold. Yes, they're 8-2. But if they do get into the playoffs, playing the way they are right now against anybody who matters, even in a year like this, when there are no monsters out there, they're going to get knocked the hell out. And don't tell me their defense will keep them in any game against anybody when the freaking Raiders damn near did them in their own house last night. But don't take it from me. Take it from them. Listen to J.K. Dobbins flat out admit that the defense is winning games for them and that he feels terribly in the way the offense is playing right now.
The defense is winning us the games, and we're not helping them. We're not doing them any justice. We're not, I feel bad the way we play on offense and the way they play on defense because they're doing so great and then we're doing so bad. And they're our brothers too, so it just sucks because they're out there so many plays, playing their butts off. We can't keep doing that to them, and we'll figure it out as offense. We will.
Yeah, I don't know that you will, but I love that response. That was awesome. We're brothers, and we cannot keep doing that to them. You know what, my guy? They may not be saying it publicly, but they feel the exact same way. They can't keep doing that to us. We can't keep bailing them out. Why are they not keeping up their end of the bargain? Can't argue with any of that. He's exactly right. It's a really good defense and a really embarrassing offense right now. And I'm sure it is pretty humiliating to be a part of that embarrassing offense right now. I posted on X last night. It should have never even gotten to this point, but now would be a good time for Bo Nix to work some of that alleged fourth quarter magic. But it never happened, which is probably why he was mercilessly booed for most of the second half. So, of course, Bo was asked, hey, Bo, how did it feel to be mercilessly booed for most of the second half?
What did you think about some of their reaction, the boos and that kind of thing?
Well, I've been booed before and I'll be booed again, so not going to be the last time. It's obviously unfortunate. You don't want your own fans booing you, but, it's part of it.
Here's the thing. I respect that response. And, of course, nobody's happy to get booed all night by your own fans on national TV, especially when you're 8-2 and your second-year quarterback is 18-9 as an NFL starter and has shown legitimate flashes. But then again, it's like their own fans know. Their own fans think they're imposters. Bo-leavers, boo-leavers. Hey-oh! Look, there's no way you boo that hard. Thank you, Albie. There's no way you boo that hard for an 8-2 team unless you don't believe, unless you're waiting for a reason to boo. If you had full belief in who and what they are, sure, you'd be frustrated that they look like ass, but you would know they're just playing like ass, but they're not actually ass. It's only one bad game, and even really good teams have bad games. But them booing them like that tells me that their own fans don't believe they're a really good team. Either that or you had 60,000 plus that took the home team -9. By the way, thank you for nothing on that as well, y'all. If I have to sit through that garbage, at least get me paid. Man, I hate it when I'm wrong and the big head's right. Even the big head, who's a Bronco honk, took the points. He knew better. He was in the house. I said to him last night, he went to the game. He said it was the first Bronco game he'd gone to in 20 years. I hit him up last night. I'm like, dude, they brought the ass, number one. And number two, you should ask for a refund. His response to me was perfect, big head. He's like, first of all, the tickets were free. I'm like, I should have known. There's no way he's paying for anything. He goes, but they should be paying me. I said, you're right about that too. Look, bottom line, and I know it's been a long, long rant here. That's how angry I am. Why are you so angry, Rome? Because I had to sit through it. Because I wasted all that time. It's one of the great regrets of my life, that football game. I mean that. I regret a lot of things, but maybe nothing more than that game. I said it before last night's game. Despite their record, I really still did not know who or what the Broncos were or are, but I knew exactly who and what the Raiders were. yes. Now I can say I know what Denver isn't. A legitimate Super Bowl contender. Not with that offense, not with that special teams unit. That defense will get them to the postseason, but they're not going anywhere once they get there. Not playing like that. Not playing the way they have. Yeah, and I don't want to hear that, yeah, but look how good they've been in one-score games. There's a reason they're in so many one-score games. They're not that good. And lucky for them, they've gotten the good breaks and they've made a few plays. You want to talk eye test. Does that look to you like an 8-2 team? If you would swap the uniforms on those two teams, you wouldn't know one from the other.